so this video is a follow-up to my series on mistakes to avoid when hiring a personal brand photographer. I'm Amber with Amber Andrews Photography. I'm a personal brand photographer in West Michigan. So if you've been following along on my series, you know that you want to hire a photographer that specializes in personal brand photography. You also want a photographer that includes a commercial use license, who allows you to edit your photos in any way that you or your graphic designer need to edit them, and a photographer that does not require you to credit them whenever you use their photos. Okay, now the last mistake that I talked about was going into your photo shoot without a plan. So today we're going to talk about planning your personal brand photo shoot. So first off, you're going to want to meet with your photographer, either in person, through an online video conference, or over the phone. Now, if you're hiring someone who specializes in personal brand photography, they should have all the questions that they need to help prepare for your photo session. But you're going to want to talk with them about things like your personal brand, colors that you use in your branding, your personal style. You're going to want to talk about stories that you want to tell online through your Instagram or Facebook or blog, whatever you're using these photos for. What stories are you telling for the next 3 months? That way you can get 3 months worth of photos from one session. So figure out ahead of time, plan out, if you can, plan out your post, your Instagram post, blog posts, whatever. Figure out what stories you're going to be telling, and you and your photographer can talk together and figure out how you can tell those stories visually through your photos. You're going to want to talk about what emotions and moods you want to show in your photos. Are you going to want to show a surprise face? Do you want to show a little secret face, or whatever kind of emotions, adjectives you want to show? Make sure you talk to your photographer about them so you can get all the photos that you need. You'll also want to talk about what props you need to use that help tell your story. Now, if you sell a product, that's probably pretty easy because you can use your products as your props. If you sell a service, what tools do you use to help you sell your service? Like for me, I use a camera. I also take photos of me reading books because I feel like my ideal client probably likes reading entrepreneur books just as much as I do. So I take photos with books. So think about what props will help you tell your story. Now also, with your photographer, you want to identify who your ideal client is. Think about what do you have in common with your ideal client, and how can you show that commonality through photos. Now also, you want to think about what do your ideal clients have in common with each other that you can show through photos. They can be like, oh wow, hey look, this is an awesome photographer, or not photographer. So they can look at your business and see that, hey, this is not just a business, this is a real person, and this person, wow, this person likes coffee just like I do. I know that's a pretty generic thing now because everybody uses coffee and everyone likes coffee, but a lot of people do like coffee and relate to that. I'm not quite as much of a coffee drinker myself. But let's go on. So now we also want to talk about locations. You want to discuss with your photographer what locations are special to you. If you're going through what stories you're going to be telling, maybe there's a location that's really going to stand out that you are going to need to take your photos there. Now, I like taking photos in my clients' houses, and I also like taking behind the scenes photos of where they work, which sometimes they work from home, so they can do both there. Or if they have an office space, things like that. So think about what locations are special to you. What locations fit your brand, the style and feel of your brand? I know some people, I've rented out Airbnbs before for photo shoots. We've done photo shoots outside. I love doing outdoor photo shoots. They're always fun. So yeah, just talk with your photographer about that, and I'm sure they will have lots of great suggestions. You will also want to plan the date and the time. Super important, right? Make sure you show up for your photo shoot on time. So talk to your photographer. There might be a certain time that your photographer wants to make sure that you do the photos because of lighting. I know I love to use natural lighting, so if I'm taking photo shoots outside, I'm going to try to be taking those photos during the ideal time, just after sunrise, before sunset is ideal lighting, although that's not always possible, and a good photographer can still get a good photo and find good lighting even if it's the middle of the day. But discuss that with your photographer and figure out what date and time will work best for your photo shoot. Now, lastly, you will want to discuss with your photographer where you're going to be using these photos. Are you going to be using them for Facebook ads, Instagram posts, banners, blog posts, ebook covers, your LinkedIn profile, Pinterest posts, so much more? So you want your photographer to know like how you're going to be using those photos, so he or she knows whether you need lots of square photos for Instagram, or maybe you need super wide photos and you want to make sure that you're on one side of the photo or the other side of the photo. So just make sure that you are talking with your photographer about that so that the photographer can make sure you get all of the photos that you need from that session. Now make sure you check back because my next video is going to be on preparing for your session. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you later.